Welcome to Close Attention, a show where we don't sugarcoat the tough stuff in relationships. We dive into the nitty-gritty, the real issues that many of us face but rarely talk about openly. Relationships can be incredibly rewarding, but they can also be challenging and complex. Our goal is to help you navigate these complexities with honesty and empathy. We're here to get real, dig deep, and provide you with insights that can make a tangible difference in your life. Whether you're in a new relationship or have been with your partner for years, there's always room for growth and improvement. Our mission is to help you build stronger, healthier connections. We believe that everyone deserves to have fulfilling and meaningful relationships, and we're here to support you on that journey. Now, let's talk about a topic that's often swept under the rug: emotional disconnection. It's a silent issue that can slowly erode the foundation of any relationship if left unaddressed. You know what I'm talking about. That feeling when your partner's miles away, even when they're right beside you. It's a sense of loneliness and isolation that can be incredibly painful. It's like you're living separate lives, and the gap just keeps getting wider. You might find yourselves going through the motions, but the emotional connection that once brought you together feels like it's fading. If you've noticed that something's just off in your relationship, you're in the right place. Recognizing the problem is the first step towards healing and rebuilding that connection. We're going to shine a light on 14 telltale signs of emotional disconnection. These signs can help you identify the underlying issues that may be affecting your relationship. We'll break down the psychology behind these behaviors and give you practical tools to address them. Understanding why these issues arise is crucial to finding effective solutions. Remember, ignoring the problem won't make it go away. It's important to face these challenges head-on and take proactive steps to improve your relationship. It's time to face these issues head-on, understand what's really going on, and get back to the connected, loving relationship you deserve. Let's get started. Together, we can make a difference. The first sign we're tackling is a big one: lack of communication. It's a silent killer in relationships, often creeping in unnoticed until it becomes a significant issue. You might think it's just a phase, but prolonged silence can lead to a deeper disconnect. You know the drill. The awkward silences, the surface-level conversations, the moments when you feel like you're talking to a wall. It's not just about the absence of words, it's about the absence of meaningful interaction. The feeling that you're living with a roommate instead of a romantic partner can be incredibly isolating. You start to miss the days when you could talk for hours about anything and everything. Now, even the simplest conversations feel forced and strained. This isn't just about forgetting to pick up the dry cleaning. It's about a breakdown in the foundation of your relationship. When you stop communicating, you stop sharing your life with each other. The little things that once brought you closer now seem insignificant. When communication falters, it erodes intimacy, trust, and connection. It's like a slow leak that can eventually sink the entire ship. You might not notice it at first, but over time the damage becomes undeniable. It's like a slow leak that can eventually sink the entire ship. The longer you let it go, the harder it becomes to repair. You start to drift apart, and before you know it, you're miles away from where you started. Now let's look at the psychological reasons behind this communication breakdown. Often it stems from fear of conflict, fear of vulnerability, fear of saying the wrong thing. These fears can paralyze you, making it easier to stay silent than to risk a difficult conversation. Often it stems from fear of conflict, fear of vulnerability, fear of saying the wrong thing. But here's the deal. Avoiding these difficult conversations only makes the problem worse. The more you avoid, the more the tension builds. But here's the deal. Avoiding these difficult conversations only makes the problem worse. The more you avoid, the more the tension builds. It's like a pressure cooker waiting to explode. The key is to face these fears head-on and start talking. It's time to stop sweeping things under the rug and start talking to each other again. Open up about your feelings, your frustrations, your hopes, and your dreams. It might be uncomfortable at first, but it's a crucial step towards healing. And I mean really talking about your feelings, your needs, your dreams, your fears. This is how you rebuild that emotional bridge and start reconnecting. It's about being vulnerable and honest with each other. This is how you rebuild that emotional bridge and start reconnecting. It's not going to happen overnight, but with patience and effort, you can find your way back to each other. Remember, communication is the lifeline of any relationship. Don't let it slip away. Let's move on to another critical aspect of a connected relationship: physical intimacy. This is a cornerstone of any romantic relationship, and it encompasses much more than just the act of sex. Physical intimacy is about creating a bond that goes beyond words, a connection that is felt deeply and profoundly. Now, before you jump to conclusions, remember that intimacy goes way beyond just sex. It's about the closeness and the comfort you feel with your partner. It's about the way you can be yourself around them, without any pretenses or masks. It's about feeling safe and cherished in their presence. It's about those small, everyday gestures of affection that show your partner you care. These gestures might seem insignificant, but they are the glue that holds a relationship together. A smile, a touch, a kind word. These are the things that make your partner feel valued and loved. We're talking about holding hands, cuddling on the couch, giving a spontaneous hug, or simply reaching out to touch their arm during a conversation. These small acts of physical connection are powerful. They communicate love, trust, and a sense of belonging. When these simple acts of physical connection dwindle, it can signal a deeper emotional disconnect brewing beneath the surface. It's often a sign that something is amiss, that the relationship is not as strong as it once was. This lack of physical touch can leave both partners feeling lonely, unwanted, and unloved, even if everything else seems fine on the surface. It's a silent cry for help, a sign that the relationship needs attention and care. It's like a slow fade out of that spark that initially ignited the relationship, the excitement, the passion, the connection. All of it starts to wane, leaving behind a sense of emptiness and longing. So, if you find yourselves living like ships passing in the night, barely touching or acknowledging each other physically, it's time to pay attention. This is a wake-up call, a moment to reflect on what has changed and what needs to be done to rekindle that connection. This shift in physical intimacy, or lack thereof, is often a canary in the coal mine, signaling deeper issues that need to be addressed. It's an opportunity to open up, to communicate, and to work together to rebuild the bond that brought you together in the first place. Don't ignore these signs. They are the key to a healthier, happier relationship. You know, folks, when we start talking about increased irritability in a relationship, we're talking about a pressure cooker situation. Things have been simmering, maybe unnoticed, and suddenly, bam! Little things set you off. You're snapping at each other. The fuse is short. Now, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. There's a reason why you're more irritable, and it's not always just about the dirty dishes in the sink, though I'll tell you, that'd get me going too. We're talking underlying resentment, unmet needs, maybe even some fear bubbling up. And let me tell you, statistics show that nearly 70% of couples report increased conflict when they're dealing with chronic stress. That's a whole lot of folks walking around with their nerves frayed. So, what do we do about it? We gotta release the pressure, folks. We gotta figure out what's really got you on edge and address it head on. Folks, remember when you first started dating? You couldn't get enough of each other. Every date was an adventure. Every moment together was precious. But somewhere along the way, life happened. You settled into a routine, responsibilities piled up, and suddenly you're spending less and less time doing the things you used to enjoy together. Maybe you've stopped going on dates, stopped taking those weekend getaways, stopped even watching your favorite shows together. And you know what? That's a slippery slope. Because when you stop sharing experiences, you stop connecting. You stop growing together, and that's when the distance starts to creep in. Statistics show that couples who engage in shared activities at least once a week report higher levels of relationship satisfaction. It's not rocket science, folks. It's about making time for each other, even when it's not easy. Listen, we all wear multiple hats in life. We're partners, parents, employees, friends, volunteers, the list goes on. And it's easy to get so caught up in all those roles that we neglect the most important one, our role as a partner. We pour ourselves into our work, our hobbies, our social lives, and before we know it, our relationship is running on fumes. We're too tired, too stressed, and too busy to give our partner the time and attention they deserve. And you know what? That's a recipe for disaster, because when you stop investing in your relationship, it starts to wither. The connection fades, the intimacy dwindles, and resentment starts to creep in. Statistics show that couples who report feeling neglected by their partner are more likely to experience conflict, infidelity, and even divorce. It's a slippery slope, folks. But the good news is, it's not inevitable. You know, folks, when you're in a healthy relationship, you look forward to making plans together. It's one of those things that brings a sense of excitement and anticipation. You talk about the places you want to visit, the experiences you want to share, and the milestones you hope to achieve. It's like painting a picture of your future together, and each plan is a brushstroke that adds color and depth to your shared life. You talk about vacations, retirement, maybe even just what you're going to do next weekend. These conversations are more than just idle chatter. They're a way to connect and align your dreams. Planning a vacation isn't just about picking a destination, it's about imagining the joy of exploring new places together. Discussing retirement isn't just about financial security. It's about envisioning a future where you can enjoy the fruits of your labor side by side. Even planning the weekend is a small but significant way to show that you value each other's company and want to make the most of your time together. But when that excitement about the future starts to fade, it's a big old red flag. It's like the spark that once ignited your conversations has dimmed, and the vibrant colors of your shared dreams have turned to shades of gray. You might find yourself sitting in silence more often, the once lively discussions replaced by a sense of indifference. It's not that you don't care about each other anymore, but the enthusiasm for building a future together has waned. It's like the relationship is stuck in neutral, going nowhere fast. You might feel like you're just going through the motions, living day to day without any clear direction. The plans you once made with excitement now feel like obligations, and the future you once looked forward to seems uncertain. This stagnation can create a sense of frustration and disengagement, as if you're both passengers in a car that's idling at a red light, unsure of when or if it will ever move forward. Now, I'm not saying every couple needs to be joined at the hip with a 5-year plan, but you gotta have some shared vision for the future. It's not about having every detail mapped out. It's about having a sense of direction and purpose. It's about knowing that you're both working towards something together, whether it's a big dream or a series of small goals. Without this shared vision, it's easy to drift apart, each of you following your own path without considering how it aligns with the others. But you gotta have some shared vision for the future. This vision doesn't have to be grand or elaborate, it just needs to be something that you both believe in and are willing to work towards. It could be as simple as planning a weekend getaway, saving for a house, or even just setting aside time for regular date nights. The key is to have something that keeps you both engaged and invested in the relationship, something that reminds you why you chose to be together in the first place. Without that, resentment can build. When one partner feels like their dreams and aspirations are being ignored or dismissed, it can create a sense of imbalance and unfairness. This resentment can fester over time, leading to arguments and misunderstandings. One partner might feel like they're constantly compromising, while the other feels like they're being pressured to conform. This dynamic can erode the foundation of trust and mutual respect that a healthy relationship is built on. One partner might feel like they're being held back, unable to pursue their own goals and dreams because they're constantly accommodating the other's needs. This feeling of being trapped can lead to frustration and resentment, as if they're sacrificing their own happiness for the sake of the relationship. On the other hand, the partner who feels lost and uncertain might struggle with a sense of direction, unsure of where the relationship is headed and what their role in it is, while the other feels lost and uncertain. This lack of clarity can create a sense of confusion and sadness, as if they're wandering through the relationship without a map. They might question their own value and contribution, wondering if they're truly appreciated and understood. This emotional distance can make it difficult to connect on a deeper level, leading to feelings of isolation and loneliness, even when you are physically together. This lack of interest in future plans can stem from a fear of commitment, a lack of communication, or even deeper issues like unresolved conflicts. Fear of commitment can make it difficult to envision a future together, as if the very idea of long-term planning is too overwhelming to consider. A lack of communication can create misunderstandings and assumptions, as if you're both speaking different languages and unable to find common ground. Unresolved conflicts can act as barriers, preventing you from moving forward and creating a sense of stagnation. A lack of communication, or even deeper issues like unresolved conflicts. These issues can create a cycle of negativity, where each argument and misunderstanding adds another layer of tension and distance. Avoiding eye contact and shutting down emotionally can become coping mechanisms, ways to protect yourself from further hurt, but also ways to disconnect from your partner. This emotional withdrawal can make it difficult to address the underlying issues, as if you're both tiptoeing around a minefield of unresolved emotions. It's like having an elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about, but it's stomping all over your hopes and dreams. This unspoken tension can create a heavy atmosphere where every interaction feels strained and uncomfortable. The dreams and plans you once shared now feel like distant memories, overshadowed by the weight of unresolved issues. It's as if the elephant is taking up all the space, leaving no room for the joy and connection that once defined your relationship. But it's stomping all over your hopes and dreams. The disappointment and frustration can become overwhelming, as if the very foundation of your relationship is crumbling. You might find yourselves questioning whether it's worth continuing, whether the dreams you once had are still attainable. This sense of hopelessness can make it difficult to see a way forward, as if the path to a brighter future is blocked by the weight of unresolved issues. So what can you do about it? The first step is to acknowledge the elephant in the room, to recognize that there are issues that need to be addressed. This can be a difficult and uncomfortable process, but it's essential for moving forward. Start by having an open and honest conversation about your feelings and concerns. This isn't about blaming or criticizing each other, it's about understanding where each of you is coming from and finding a way to move forward together. Well, the first step is to break the silence. Silence can be a powerful tool for reflection, but it can also be a barrier to connection. Breaking the silence means opening up about your fears, your hopes, and your dreams. It means being vulnerable and honest, even when it's difficult. This kind of open communication can create a sense of intimacy and trust, as if you're both taking a step towards each other instead of away. Start talking about your individual aspirations and see if you can find some common ground. This doesn't mean you have to agree on everything, but it does mean finding areas where your dreams and goals align. Maybe you both want to travel more, or maybe you both value spending quality time together. Whatever it is, finding common ground can create a sense of unity and purpose, as if you're both working towards the same goal. Remember, folks, a relationship without shared goals is like a rudderless ship just drifting aimlessly. Without a sense of direction, it's easy to get lost and lose sight of what brought you together in the first place. But with a shared vision and open communication, you can navigate the challenges and uncertainties, steering your relationship towards a brighter and more fulfilling future. You ever feel like you're living with a stranger in your own home? Like the person you share a bed with has become distant, emotionally unavailable, and cold? That, my friends, is emotional detachment, and it's a real relationship killer, trust me. It's like a slow leak in a tire, slowly deflating the connection you once had. Bit by bit, you might be going through the motions, but the heart, the passion, the intimacy, it's all fading away, disappearing. This detachment can stem from a lot of things. Unresolved conflict, resentment, lack of communication, even outside stressors. It's like building an emotional wall, brick by brick, until you're completely shut off from each other. Now, this doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. It's a gradual process, and it often starts with small things. Not sharing your feelings, withdrawing from conversations, spending less time together. But if you ignore these warning signs, you're headed for trouble, serious trouble. We've all been there, folks. That point in a relationship where every little thing starts to get under your skin. The way they chew their food, the way they fold their laundry, the way they breathe. It's like a constant source of irritation. This, my friends, is the dangerous territory of increased complaints and criticism, and it's a slippery slope towards resentment and anger. Now, it's normal to have disagreements and express frustrations in a relationship, but when those complaints become constant and overly critical, it creates a toxic environment. It's like a slow poison chipping away at the foundation of your love and respect for each other. And let's be clear, folks, constant criticism is not about trying to improve your partner or the relationship. It's about control, power, and a whole lot of negativity that can suck the life out of your connection. You know, folks, conflict is a natural part of any relationship. It's something that every couple, every friendship, and every family will encounter at some point. Disagreements are inevitable because no two people are exactly alike. We all have our own thoughts, feelings, and perspectives, and sometimes those don't align perfectly with the people we care about. And that's okay, it's normal, it's human. But how we handle those conflicts can make all the difference in the world. Nobody agrees on everything all the time. It's just not possible. Even the happiest couples and the closest friends have their moments of discord. It's not the presence of conflict that's the problem. It's how we deal with it. Do we face it head on, or do we shy away from it? Do we communicate openly, or do we shut down? These choices can shape the entire dynamic of a relationship. But when you start dodging every disagreement, when you'd rather swallow your feelings than have a tough conversation, you're headed down a dangerous path. It's like putting a band-aid on a wound that needs stitches. It might cover it up for a while, but it doesn't heal the underlying issue. And over time, those unspoken feelings can fester and grow, turning into something much more toxic. That's right, avoiding conflict isn't about keeping the peace, it's about building walls. Walls that separate you from the people you care about, walls that make it harder to connect, harder to understand each other, and harder to feel close. And the higher those walls get, the more isolated you become. It's a lonely place to be, and it's not sustainable in the long run. And let me tell you, those walls, they can become a prison of silence. A place where you feel trapped, unable to express yourself, unable to reach out, and unable to break free. It's a suffocating feeling, and it can take a serious toll on your mental and emotional well-being. One partner clams up, The other gets the message that their feelings aren't worth addressing. It's a vicious cycle. The more one person withdraws, the more the other feels neglected and unimportant. And the more they feel that way, the more they withdraw in return. It's a downward spiral that can be incredibly hard to break out of. Resentment builds, intimacy fades, and pretty soon you're living with a stranger wearing a familiar face. The person you once felt so close to now feels distant and unreachable. The connection you once cherished now feels strained and fragile. It's a heartbreaking situation, and it's one that many people find themselves in without even realizing how they got there. Now, I'm not saying you need to pick a fight every time you disagree. That's not healthy either, but you gotta be honest with each other, even when it's uncomfortable. You have to be willing to have those tough conversations, to express your feelings, and to listen to your partner's perspective. It's not always easy, but it's essential for a healthy relationship. Sweeping things under the rug just creates a lumpy relationship. And nobody wants to walk on eggshells all the time. It's exhausting, and it's not fair to either person. You deserve to be heard, and your partner deserves the chance to understand your perspective. It's about mutual respect and understanding, and it's about building a foundation of trust and communication. You deserve to be heard, and your partner deserves the chance to understand your perspective. It's about creating a space where both people feel safe to express themselves, where both people feel valued and respected, and where both people can work together to find solutions to their problems. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. Don't let fear of a little dust-up turn your relationship into a ghost town. Don't let the fear of conflict keep you from having the conversations that need to be had. It's better to face the storm head-on than to let it brew and grow into something much more destructive. You deserve to be heard, and your partner deserves the chance to understand your perspective. It's about creating a space where both people feel safe to express themselves, where both people feel valued and respected, and where both people can work together to find solutions to their problems. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. Don't let fear of a little dust-up turn your relationship into a ghost town. Don't let the fear of conflict keep you from having the conversations that need to be had. It's better to face the storm head-on than to let it brew and grow into something much more destructive. You deserve to be heard, and your partner deserves the chance to understand your perspective. It's about creating a space where both people feel safe to express themselves, where both people feel valued and respected, and where both people can work together to find solutions to their problems. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. Don't let fear of a little dust-up turn your relationship into a ghost town. Don't let the fear of conflict keep you from having the conversations that need to be had. It's better to face the storm head-on than to let it brew and grow into something much more destructive. Folks, we live in a busy world. Jobs, kids, errands, it can feel like there's never enough time in the day. The hustle and bustle of daily life can be overwhelming. From the moment we wake up, it's a race against the clock. We rush to get ready, prepare breakfast, and get the kids off to school. Then it's off to work, where the demands never seem to end. Meetings, deadlines, and projects consume our time and energy. By the time we get home, we're exhausted, and there's still dinner to prepare, homework to help with, and chores to do. It's no wonder that finding time for our partners can feel like an impossible task. But it's crucial to remember that amidst all this chaos, our relationships need nurturing too. But when you find yourself constantly making excuses to be away from your partner, when your schedules seem to be intentionally misaligned, it's time to take a long, hard look at your relationship. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that everything else is more important. Work deadlines, social commitments, and even personal hobbies can start to take precedence over spending time with your partner. You might tell yourself that you'll make time for them later, but later never seems to come. And before you know it, days, weeks, or even months have gone by without any meaningful connection. This growing distance can be subtle at first, but it can quickly become a chasm that's difficult to bridge. See, spending quality time together is the lifeblood of any relationship. It's not just about being in the same room. It's about truly connecting with each other. Whether it's a walk in the park, a deep conversation on the couch, or cooking a meal together, these moments of connection are what keep the relationship strong. They remind you why you fell in love in the first place and help you build a deeper bond. It's during these times that you can share your thoughts, dreams, and fears and support each other through life's challenges. Without this quality time, the relationship can start to feel empty and unfulfilling. It's how you stay connected, how you keep the spark alive, how you remind each other that you're a team. Laughter, shared experiences, and intimate moments are the glue that holds a relationship together. When you laugh together, you create positive memories that can help you get through tough times. Sharing a romantic dinner or playing a board game might seem like small things, but they can have a big impact on your relationship. These activities allow you to relax, have fun, and enjoy each other's company. They help you see each other as partners and friends not just as people who share a living space. When that time dwindles, so does intimacy, both emotional and physical. The less time you spend together, the more distant you can become. Emotional intimacy is built on trust, communication, and shared experiences. Without these, it's easy to start feeling disconnected from your partner. Physical intimacy can also suffer when you're not spending quality time together. It's not just about sex, it's about all the little touches, hugs, and kisses that make you feel close to each other. When these moments become rare, it can create a sense of loneliness and isolation within the relationship. Now, I'm not saying you have to be joined at the hip 24/7. Everyone needs their space, their own interests, their time to recharge. It's healthy to have some time apart and to pursue your own hobbies and interests. In fact, having your own space can make the time you spend together even more special. It gives you the opportunity to miss each other and to bring new experiences and perspectives into the relationship. However, it's important to find a balance. Too much time apart can lead to feelings of neglect and abandonment, while too much togetherness can lead to feelings of suffocation. Everyone needs their space, their own interests, their time to recharge. It's essential for personal growth and well-being. Whether it's jogging in the park, painting in a studio, meditating, or gardening, these activities allow you to relax and recharge. They give you the opportunity to focus on yourself and to do something that you enjoy. This can help you feel more fulfilled and happy, which in turn can make you a better partner. When you take care of yourself, you're better able to take care of your relationship. However, it's important to make sure that these activities don't take up all your time and energy. Your relationship needs attention and care too, but when being apart becomes the norm rather than the exception, you're headed for trouble. It's a sign that something is wrong in the relationship. It could be that you're avoiding each other because of unresolved conflicts or because you're no longer interested in spending time together. Whatever the reason, it's important to address it before it becomes a bigger problem. Ignoring the issue won't make it go away. It will only make it worse. If you find that you're spending more time apart than together, it's time to have an honest conversation with your partner. Talk about what's going on and how you can work together to fix it. It's like that old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Well, it can also make the heart grow distant. While a little bit of absence can make you appreciate each other more, too much can have the opposite effect. When you're apart for long periods of time, it's easy to start feeling disconnected and to forget why you fell in love in the first place. You might start to feel like you're living separate lives, and the relationship can start to feel more like a burden than a source of joy. It's important to find a balance between time apart and time together. Make an effort to stay connected, even when you're not physically together. Send a text, make a phone call, or plan a date night. These small gestures can help keep the connection strong. And that distance? It can be tough to bridge once it takes hold. The longer you let it go, the harder it can be to reconnect. But it's not impossible. It takes effort, commitment, and a willingness to work together. Start by making time for each other, even if it's just a few minutes a day. Use that time to talk, to listen, and to share your thoughts and feelings. Be patient and understanding with each other. Remember that rebuilding a connection takes time, but it's worth it. Your relationship is worth the effort. Don't let the growing distance become a permanent divide. Take action now to bring you and your partner closer together. Let me tell you something, folks. Respect is the bedrock of any relationship. It's the foundation upon which trust, love, and intimacy are built. When you lose respect for your partner, you chip away at that foundation, and the whole thing starts to crumble. Now, I'm not talking about agreeing with everything your partner says or does. Disagreements are normal, healthy even. But when you start belittling their opinions, dismissing their feelings, or constantly putting them down, you're crossing a line. See, disrespect breeds contempt, and contempt is a relationship killer. It creates a toxic environment where communication shuts down, intimacy evaporates, and resentment festers. And once that poison takes hold, it's tough to turn things around. It's like a slow leak in a tire. You might not notice it at first, but eventually it'll leave you stranded on the side of the road wondering what went wrong. You know, folks, relationships are a lot like gardens. They require constant care, attention, and a whole lot of love. Just like a garden needs water, sunlight, and nutrients to thrive, a relationship needs communication, effort, and understanding to flourish. You gotta tend to them, nurture them, or things start to wither. It's not just about the big gestures, but the small, everyday actions that show you care. Watering the plants might seem like a mundane task, but it's essential for their growth. Similarly, small acts of kindness and consideration are the lifeblood of a healthy relationship. When you start neglecting your responsibilities in a relationship, it's like you're forgetting to water the garden. The soil dries up, the plants wilt, and before you know it, the once vibrant garden is a shadow of its former self. Neglect can creep in slowly, almost unnoticed at first, but its effects are profound and far-reaching. Things dry up, get brittle, it's not pretty. The same goes for relationships. When you stop putting in the effort, things start to fall apart. Conversations become strained, affection dwindles, and the connection you once cherished begins to fade. It's a slow, painful process that can be avoided with a little bit of care and attention. We're talking about those everyday things, the little things that might not seem like a big deal at first. It's easy to overlook them, to think that missing one date night or forgetting to pick up the dry cleaning won't make a difference. But these small actions, or the lack thereof, accumulate over time. They create a pattern, a narrative that speaks volumes about how much you value your partner and your relationship. Maybe you stop making an effort to plan date nights, thinking that your partner will understand. But those date nights are more than just outings. They're opportunities to reconnect, to remind each other why you fell in love in the first place. They break the monotony of daily life and bring a sense of excitement and novelty to the relationship. Or you forget to pick up their dry cleaning again. It might seem trivial, but these small tasks show that you're thinking about them, that you care about their needs, and are willing to go out of your way to make their life a little easier. It's these everyday gestures that build trust and show your partner that they can rely on you. Maybe you're constantly too busy to lend an ear after a tough day. Work, hobbies, and other commitments can take up a lot of time, but it's crucial to make space for your partner. Listening to them, offering support, and being there when they need you are fundamental aspects of a strong relationship. When you consistently fail to do this, it sends a message that their feelings and experiences are not important to you. These things add up, folks. Each missed opportunity to show you care, each forgotten task, each moment of inattention, they all pile up. They create a barrier, a wall of resentment and disappointment that becomes harder and harder to break down. It's like a snowball effect. The more you neglect, the bigger the problem becomes. They send a message, and it ain't a good one. The message is that you don't care enough to put in the effort, that your partner's needs and feelings are not a priority. This can lead to arguments, misunderstandings, and a growing sense of disconnect. It's a dangerous path that can ultimately lead to the breakdown of the relationship. See, neglecting these responsibilities can breed resentment. Your partner might start to feel taken for granted, unappreciated, and unloved. Resentment is a toxic emotion that can erode the foundation of even the strongest relationships. It creates a cycle of negativity that is hard to break. Your partner might start feeling unimportant, like they're not a priority. This feeling of being sidelined can lead to a loss of self-esteem and a sense of isolation. When someone feels unimportant in their relationship, it affects their overall well-being and happiness, like they're not a priority. This can cause them to withdraw, to stop putting in effort themselves, creating a vicious cycle of neglect and dissatisfaction. It's a downward spiral that can be difficult to reverse once it starts, and when that happens, you're on a slippery slope. The relationship becomes strained, and the bond you once shared starts to weaken. Serious conversations about the future, about feelings, and about the relationship itself become more frequent and more fraught with tension. It's a critical juncture where things can either be mended or fall apart completely. Statistics show that couples who report neglecting each other's needs also report lower relationship satisfaction. It's a clear correlation that highlights the importance of mutual care and attention. When both partners feel valued and supported, the relationship thrives. But when neglect sets in, satisfaction plummets, and the relationship suffers. It's a no-brainer, folks. The evidence is clear. Neglecting your partner's needs leads to unhappiness and dissatisfaction. It's a simple concept, but one that requires consistent effort and mindfulness to implement. It's about being present, being attentive, and showing your partner that they matter to you. So, what can you do? How can you prevent this cycle of neglect and ensure that your relationship remains strong and healthy? It starts with self-awareness and a willingness to make changes. First, take a good, hard look in the mirror. Reflect on your actions and behaviors. Are you doing everything you can to support and nurture your relationship? Are there areas where you could improve? Self-reflection is the first step towards positive change. Are you pulling your weight? Are you contributing equally to the relationship, or are you leaving most of the responsibilities to your partner? Sharing the load is crucial. It shows that you respect and value your partner's time and effort. Are you showing up for your partner the way you should be? This means being there emotionally, physically, and mentally. It means listening, supporting, and being present. It means making an effort to understand their needs and doing your best to meet them. If not, it's time to step up and take ownership. Acknowledge your shortcomings and make a commitment to do better. It's never too late to start making positive changes. By taking responsibility and making an effort, you can turn things around and strengthen your relationship. Remember, it's the little things that count. Small gestures of love and appreciation can make a big difference. Surprise your partner with a small gift, plan a special date night, or simply take the time to listen to them. These actions show that you care and that you're willing to put in the effort to make your relationship work. Laughter and affection are the glue that holds relationships together. Make time for fun and playfulness, share a joke, watch a funny movie, or just enjoy each other's company. Physical affection, like hugs and kisses, also plays a crucial role in maintaining a strong emotional connection. And when challenges arise, face them together. Every relationship has its ups and downs, but it's how you handle these challenges that defines the strength of your bond. Work through problems as a team, offer support and understanding, and be willing to compromise. Celebrate your successes and milestones. Acknowledge the progress you've made and the challenges you've overcome together. Express gratitude for your partner and the relationship you share. These moments of celebration and appreciation reinforce your bond and remind you of the love and commitment you have for each other. In the end, a healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, effort, and love. It's about being there for each other, through the good times and the bad. It's about making a conscious effort to nurture and care for your relationship, just like you would a garden. With the right care and attention, your relationship can thrive and bring you both joy and fulfillment. You know, folks, when a couple hits a rough patch, the natural instinct should be to fix it, to work together and find a solution. It's like when your car breaks down. You don't just leave it on the side of the road. You call a mechanic, you get it towed, you do whatever it takes to get it running again. Relationships should be no different. They require maintenance, care, and sometimes a little bit of professional help. But what happens when one partner isn't willing to put in the effort? What happens when you hit a brick wall? But sometimes you run into a brick wall. One partner digs in their heels, refuses to budge, and suddenly you're not dealing with the original problem anymore. It's like trying to have a conversation with a wall. No matter what you say, it doesn't respond. This can be incredibly frustrating and disheartening. You start to feel like you're the only one who cares about the relationship, the only one who wants to make things better. And that feeling of isolation can be devastating. You're dealing with stubbornness, with an unwillingness to even try. This kind of behavior can stem from deep-seated fear. Fear is a powerful emotion, and it can make people do irrational things. It can make them shut down, lash out, or retreat into themselves. When someone is afraid, they often build walls around themselves to protect their feelings. These walls can be incredibly difficult to break through, especially if the person isn't even aware that they're there. Fear of change, fear of vulnerability, fear of admitting they might be wrong. These fears can be paralyzing. They can make a person feel like they're standing on the edge of a cliff, afraid to take a step forward because they don't know what's going to happen. They might be afraid that if they admit they're wrong, they'll lose face or be seen as weak. They might be afraid that if they open up, they'll get hurt. These fears are valid, but they can also be incredibly destructive. It's easier to shut down, to avoid the potential discomfort of a difficult conversation. It's easier to pretend that everything is fine, to sweep problems under the rug and hope they'll go away on their own. But this is a dangerous game to play. Ignoring problems doesn't make them disappear, it just makes them grow. It's like ignoring a leak in your roof. Eventually, that small leak is going to turn into a big problem. But let me tell you something. Burying your head in the sand won't make the problem disappear. It won't make the fear go away. In fact, it often makes things worse. When you ignore a problem, it festers. It grows and mutates into something even more difficult to deal with. And by the time you're forced to confront it, it's often too late to fix it easily. The damage has been done, and it can be incredibly difficult to repair. It just festers and grows, and the statistics back this up. Studies have shown that couples who refuse to address their issues are more likely to drift apart. The longer you ignore a problem, the bigger it gets. And the bigger it gets, the harder it is to deal with. It's a vicious cycle, and it can be incredibly difficult to break out of, but it's not impossible. With the right tools and the right mindset, you can break through that wall and start to rebuild your relationship. A recent study showed that 67% of couples who refuse to address their issues end up further apart than they were before. That's a staggering number. It means that more than half of couples who ignore their problems end up in a worse place than they started. This is a clear indication that ignoring problems is not a viable solution. If you want to save your relationship, you have to be willing to face your problems head on. That's a failing grade in anyone's book. So how do you break through that wall? How do you get your partner to come to the table and actually work towards a solution? The first step is to communicate. You have to be willing to talk about your feelings, your fears, and your concerns. This can be incredibly difficult, especially if you're not used to being open and vulnerable. But it's a necessary step if you want to make progress. How do you get your partner to come to the table and actually work towards a solution? You have to create a safe space for them to open up. This means being patient, understanding, and non-judgmental. It means listening to them without interrupting or getting defensive. It means validating their feelings and letting them know that it's okay to be scared. Once you've created this safe space, you can start to work on your problems together. This might mean seeking the help of a professional, like a therapist or a counselor. It might mean setting aside time each week to talk about your relationship. Whatever it takes, you have to be willing to put in the effort, because at the end of the day, a relationship is a partnership. It requires both people to be committed to making it work. And if you're willing to put in the effort, you can break through that brick wall and come out stronger on the other side. You know, folks, we talk a lot about togetherness in relationships, about sharing experiences and building a life together. We often hear about the importance of being there for each other, of creating shared memories and facing life's challenges as a united front. And that's all well and good, but sometimes you need to pump the brakes a little. You need to create some space, some breathing room for individual growth. This isn't about creating distance in a negative sense, but rather about fostering a healthy environment where both partners can thrive as individuals. Now, this doesn't mean you're falling out of love or heading for divorce court. It just means you're recognizing the importance of individuality within the context of a relationship. We all need time to recharge, to pursue our own interests, to connect with ourselves. This time apart can actually strengthen the bond you share with your partner. When you take the time to nurture your own passions and interests, you bring a richer, more fulfilled version of yourself back to the relationship. Think about it. When you engage in activities that you love, whether it's reading a book in the park, practicing yoga in your living room, or simply taking a walk alone, you are investing in your own well-being. This self-care is crucial because it allows you to decompress, to reflect, and to grow. And when you return to your partner, you do so with a renewed sense of energy and perspective. The key here, folks, is balance. It's about finding that sweet spot between togetherness and independence, where both partners feel fulfilled and respected. It's about communicating your needs clearly and respectfully, without accusing or blaming. You might say something like, "Honey, I love spending time with you, but I also need some time to myself to recharge." This kind of open and honest communication is essential for maintaining a healthy relationship. And the research supports this. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that couples who maintain a healthy sense of independence report higher levels of relationship satisfaction. That's because they're able to bring their best selves to the table, having had the opportunity to grow and evolve as individuals. When you allow yourself and your partner the space to pursue personal interests, you create a dynamic where both of you can flourish. We all need time to recharge, to pursue our own interests, to connect with ourselves. This isn't just about physical activities, it's also about mental and emotional well-being. Whether it's running in the park, meditating by the lake, or simply sitting in silence, these moments of solitude are vital. They allow us to process our thoughts, to understand our emotions, and to come back to our relationships with a clearer mind and a fuller heart. And the research supports this. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that couples who maintain a healthy sense of independence report higher levels of relationship satisfaction. That's because they're able to bring their best selves to the table, having had the opportunity to grow and evolve as individuals. When you allow yourself and your partner the space to pursue personal interests, you create a dynamic where both of you can flourish. That's because they're able to bring their best selves to the table, having had the opportunity to grow and evolve as individuals. When you allow yourself and your partner the space to pursue personal interests, you create a dynamic where both of you can flourish. This doesn't mean you love each other any less. In fact, it often means you love each other more. You appreciate the time you spend together because you also value the time you spend apart. The key here, folks, is balance. It's about finding that sweet spot between togetherness and independence, where both partners feel fulfilled and respected. It's about communicating your needs clearly and respectfully without accusing or blaming. You might say something like, "Honey, I love spending time with you, but I also need some time to myself to recharge." This kind of open and honest communication is essential for maintaining a healthy relationship. It's about finding that sweet spot between togetherness and independence, where both partners feel fulfilled and respected. It's about communicating your needs clearly and respectfully without accusing or blaming. You might say something like, "Honey, I love spending time with you, but I also need some time to myself to recharge." This kind of open and honest communication is essential for maintaining a healthy relationship. It's about communicating your needs clearly and respectfully, without accusing or blaming. You might say something like, "Honey, I love spending time with you, but I also need some time to myself to recharge." This kind of open and honest communication is essential for maintaining a healthy relationship. It's about being able to express your needs without fear of judgment or rejection. You might say something like, "Honey, I love spending time with you, but I also need some time to myself to recharge." This kind of open and honest communication is essential for maintaining a healthy relationship. It's about being able to express your needs without fear of judgment or rejection. And it's about being able to listen to your partner's needs with an open heart and an open mind. I'm going to take an hour to go for a run. How about we catch a movie later tonight? This way, you're not just taking time for yourself, but you're also planning quality time together. It's a win-win situation. You get to recharge, and you also get to enjoy each other's company in a meaningful way. How about we catch a movie later tonight? This way, you're not just taking time for yourself, but you're also planning quality time together. It's a win-win situation. You get to recharge, and you also get to enjoy each other's company in a meaningful way. This balance of independence and togetherness is what makes a relationship strong and resilient. And don't forget about the spiritual aspect. God created us as individuals, each with our own unique gifts and talents. In 1 Corinthians 12:12, Paul writes, "Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. We are all part of something bigger than ourselves, but we each have our own role to play. God created us as individuals, each with our own unique gifts and talents." In 1 Corinthians 12:12, Paul writes, "Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. We are all part of something bigger than ourselves, but we each have our own role to play." This spiritual understanding can bring a deeper sense of purpose and connection to your relationship. In 1 Corinthians 12:12, Paul writes, "Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. We are all part of something bigger than ourselves, but we each have our own role to play." This spiritual understanding can bring a deeper sense of purpose and connection to your relationship. It reminds us that while we are individuals, we are also part of a greater whole. We are all part of something bigger than ourselves, but we each have our own role to play. This spiritual understanding can bring a deeper sense of purpose and connection to your relationship. It reminds us that while we are individuals, we are also part of a greater whole. And this greater whole is enriched by the unique contributions of each individual. Now, sometimes when a partner expresses a desire for more independence, it can trigger fear and insecurity in the other person. They might worry that it means their partner is pulling away, that they're not happy in the relationship, and that's understandable. But here's the thing, folks. Fear is a liar. It feeds on our insecurities and magnifies our doubts. Instead of letting fear dictate your actions, address it head on. They might worry that it means their partner is pulling away, that they're not happy in the relationship, and that's understandable. But here's the thing, folks. Fear is a liar. It feeds on our insecurities and magnifies our doubts. Instead of letting fear dictate your actions, address it head on. Talk to your partner. Tell them how their words made you feel, and listen to their response. Remember, communication is key, and that's understandable. But here's the thing, folks. Fear is a liar. It feeds on our insecurities and magnifies our doubts. Instead of letting fear dictate your actions, address it head on. Talk to your partner. Tell them how their words made you feel, and listen to their response. Remember, communication is key. The more open and honest you are with each other, the stronger your bond will become. It feeds on our insecurities and magnifies our doubts. Instead of letting fear dictate your actions, address it head on. Talk to your partner. Tell them how their words made you feel, and listen to their response. Remember, communication is key. The more open and honest you are with each other, the stronger your bond will become. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're struggling to navigate these waters. Instead of letting fear dictate your actions, address it head on. Talk to your partner. Tell them how their words made you feel, and listen to their response. Remember, communication is key. The more open and honest you are with each other, the stronger your bond will become. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're struggling to navigate these waters. A therapist can provide valuable insights and tools to help you both understand and meet each other's needs. Talk to your partner. Tell them how their words made you feel, and listen to their response. Remember, communication is key. The more open and honest you are with each other, the stronger your bond will become. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're struggling to navigate these waters. A therapist can provide valuable insights and tools to help you both understand and meet each other's needs. One of the most important things you can do when your partner expresses a desire for more independence is to reaffirm your love and commitment to them, and listen to their response. Remember, communication is key. The more open and honest you are with each other, the stronger your bond will become. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're struggling to navigate these waters. A therapist can provide valuable insights and tools to help you both understand and meet each other's needs. One of the most important things you can do when your partner expresses a desire for more independence is to reaffirm your love and commitment to them. Let them know that you support their need for space and that you're not going anywhere. The more open and honest you are with each other, the stronger your bond will become. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're struggling to navigate these waters. A therapist can provide valuable insights and tools to help you both understand and meet each other's needs. One of the most important things you can do when your partner expresses a desire for more independence is to reaffirm your love and commitment to them. Let them know that you support their need for space and that you're not going anywhere. Remind them of all the things you love about them, about your relationship. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you're struggling to navigate these waters. A therapist can provide valuable insights and tools to help you both understand and meet each other's needs. One of the most important things you can do when your partner expresses a desire for more independence is to reaffirm your love and commitment to them. Let them know that you support their need for space and that you're not going anywhere. Remind them of all the things you love about them, about your relationship. Tell them how much they mean to you. One of the most important things you can do when your partner expresses a desire for more independence is to reaffirm your love and commitment to them. Let them know that you support their need for space and that you're not going anywhere. Remind them of all the things you love about them, about your relationship. Tell them how much they mean to you. And most importantly, show them. Actions speak louder than words, folks. Let them know that you support their need for space and that you're not going anywhere. Remind them of all the things you love about them, about your relationship. Tell them how much they mean to you. And most importantly, show them. Actions speak louder than words, folks. When you take the time to show your partner that you care, that you understand their needs, and that you are willing to support them, you build a foundation of trust and respect. Remind them of all the things you love about them, about your relationship. Tell them how much they mean to you. And most importantly, show them. Actions speak louder than words, folks. When you take the time to show your partner that you care, that you understand their needs, and that you are willing to support them, you build a foundation of trust and respect. This foundation is what will carry you through the ups and downs of life, and it will make your relationship stronger and more resilient. Well, folks, we've covered a lot of ground in this series on emotional disconnection in relationships. We've talked about the signs, the causes, and most importantly, the solutions. And I hope you've come to realize that even the most challenging relationship problems can be overcome with honesty, communication, and a whole lot of hard work. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, or a therapist for support. And most importantly, never give up on love. Thank you for tuning in to Close Attention. We hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights into recognizing and addressing signs of unhappiness in your relationship. Remember, understanding the psychological and spiritual aspects of these issues can help you foster a healthier, more fulfilling connection with your partner. Join us next time as we continue to explore the dynamics of relationships and how to nurture them.